Okay, so I'm going to do another little after the fact video here because a lot of folks have been asking questions about being able to repair a leak with JB Weld on your radiator. Well, this is my Dodge Ram 1500, and it's a 2002, excellent shape, and it's got the 4.7 engine in it. I put the cold air intake, the air raid version with the proper collection. That thing made a monstrous difference. Did a little video about that, but anyway, I have a new radiator, and as a temporary fix before that came in, I wanted to see if I could actually use JB Weld to fix the cracks that are in these plastic caps. They deteriorate. This is the original radiator, and they'll start to get cracks. And right in this area up here, this is right up at the top, I had a bunch of small little cracks that were forming, and actually the coolant was starting to shoot straight out of the front here, and it was making a mess. But it wasn't a massive leak. It was just big enough to be squirting out of here, and then a couple of other small ones that were starting to bleed down. So I needed to have a temporary fix if I could until the new radiator came in, and this was about 2 months ago now. So I've actually haven't put the new radiator in yet, trying to see how long this is going to actually last. So show you what I did. See the little grooves inside here where the metal is crimped onto the plastic? What I did was it looks similar to this. This is the 5020 PSI version, and this is what I used here. The tubes look pretty similar, but this is the 3100 PSI version of this JB Weld cold weld. And I also used the water weld over the top of it. Now, how that works was I mixed up the JB Weld, the black, the gray version like this, and I blended the two together, and I filled in and covered from inside this area, okay, even putting it in behind this bracket here, and all the way back, and then all the way inside, into the grooves in here, kind of like pushing it in so that I was kind of biting into that as well, using these as anchor points. But I scratched it up real good with a Dremel first, and by scratching it up, really good, not digging into it, but just scratching the surface and getting it nice and dry. And you want to make sure that it's, nice and clean and nice and dry, scratched up real well. I put the black in there first and let that set for 24 hours. And so that's the cure time, is 24 hours with that particular one. After I had that in there, I took the JB Weld water weld, just to make sure if there was any leaks or anything seeping around it, that the JB Weld water weld would hold that back without having the water or the moisture affect it. And I pushed that in as well into all those grooves, pushed it in really, really well. That has been holding with no leaks, no sweating, nothing whatsoever. That's held now for the past 2 months, and I only really needed it for a few days, but told a few friends I would let it sit and see how long it'll last. So far, it's worked perfectly. And so a lot of the questions people have been asking, can you use JB Weld? It all depends on exactly what the crack is and where it is. But my answer with this kind of scenario is yes, you can use JB Weld in certain areas. You just have to apply it correctly, and you really got to load it in there to get it in, to get it in so it's nice and tight. And also, because it's very strong and brittle, it can hold the pressure, because the pressure is not the problem. It's the preparation of the surface, making sure that you get it nice and clean and free from any kind of oil. And you need to kind of scratch the surface a bit and completely cover the area with the holes. And you want to try to find things like this support and inside areas like this that you can actually support it, so that the vibration and the heat, the hot cool can, doesn't expand off on you. But you need it to grip, you need it to be able to hold. And if you properly prep the surface, it's going to hold. It's not a permanent fix, Well, you know, for some people maybe it would be, but I'm just experimenting with how long it's going to last, and it's holding. I mean, I feel, you know, a little bit here, looks like it might be lifting just a little bit, but so far 2 months, it hasn't come off, and no leaks. And it is, again, the JB Weld, not the 5200 that I have on there. This is actually would be stronger, but you have to let it cure for about 48 hours before you actually use it. I use the 3100 PSI version of the 2 tubes and let that cure completely, and then use the water weld over the top of it, and that's what that messy looking thing is. But actually, it's worked. So as soon as it starts to leak, in goes the new radiator. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys.